A number of workers' unions, led by KOTU Kenya, have urged members of parliament to review the current power purchase agreements just so to sort of cushion the consumer from the high electricity bills in this country. Now, for that particular case, is it a far-fetched dream for this country? The question is mine. Herman Manyora has the answers on this particular edition of Business Glide, hosted by yours truly, Richard Mwenjo, your go-to point show on matters public policy analysis, business and economics at large. Welcome on board. Prof, how are you doing?
Oh, wonderful.
In this floral shirt?
Yes.
Come on, following the footsteps of Uhuru Kenyatta?
No, that is my shirt. It is different.
Not from Rivertex?
No.
Support local economy, come on.
No. We are international.
International?
Yes.
Getting money from international donors who are to support your presidential bid?
Yes. Money is coming in like you don't know.
Can't you do it a different way other than using money in politics? In your campaign and all that?
You need logistics. Money is not for bribing people or buying votes. For logistics, yes.
You still harbor that dream though?
It's not a dream. Continue.
Very well, we'll get to that on the other show, that is Siasa Brigade. We are talking matters power purchase agreements and the need to, if there is need to review them, just so to cushion taxpayers and consumers at large from the expensive bills seen in the market. But let's start here. A section of workers' unions led by KOTU, SG Atwell, was there in Parliament before a Parliamentary Committee on Energy. And top of their resolution was to urge the members of Parliament to enact a law which will make sure that all these power purchase agreements are actually paid in local currency and being made to the public before the signing of those agreements. From that particular case from the workers' union, do you think it is now the right step in the right direction?
It's long overdue. In fact, you don't even need laws. What are laws for? Just common sense. Just sit down with these people. Say, gentlemen, you have had your field day. You have enjoyed. The common man has suffered. The country has suffered. But it's time for you to take a walk.
Pay in local currency?
Not just that. Even stopping some of those contracts. Some of the provisions are crazy in those contracts. Crazy. You cannot even read before you begin crying. You can't finish one sentence, you start crying.
Game Member of Parliament Elisha Odhiambo has come forward and said even those that we claim are stealing from the public through the power purchase agreements are fellow Kenyans or in these power plants.
Yes.
Are we at that point whereby a Kenyan can actually go against another Kenyan for the interest of money?
But that's what they do. Kenyans are, why are we bleeding? We are being bled by fellow Kenyans.
From his report actually says senior government officials own in power plants.
We know, and I'm telling people, it gets to a point where who has done what or not done what is not important. We just cannot continue with these agreements. That's all. Just sit down with those people and tell them you have had a field day, you have reaped where you did not sow, you have enjoyed, disregard what the contracts are saying, let us disengage. And you agree on the table and you disengage. No lawsuits, no breach of contract. No, we just agree that you will take a walk, leave the people of Kenya who have suffered for so long and because of this power purchase PPS. So it's a very simple matter. And people would want to make it look complicated. It's very simple.
KOTU Secretary General Francis Atwell has actually threatened to name some of those government officials.
Why? What for? We know them. What for? To name them for what? Call them on a round table, say, you have this many years agreement, contract, we know, you have put all manner of provisions. If we tell you go home, we will pay you 50 billion or how much. But we want you to be good people. Look at this thing, is no longer tenable. Mutual agreement, we disengage. So that the people of Kenya can breathe. If they say no, if they want to be clever, then you call Manyora. You don't need a lawyer, just call me.
You confess energy cartels?
Just call me, I look at those contracts. I know without even looking at them, the circumstances and the time they were drawn, the people who are drawing them, and the protection they had. They could not have been clever. You just read the contract and you say, look at this, look at this. If you argue, we go in court. There are many arguments, legal arguments you can use to void a contract. Yeah.
Voicing on
you can come up with new policies, And if you go in court to argue why are you introducing a new policy, like on the use of dollar or other things, we say, in fact, you had an unfair clauses put in this argument. So the law is very clear, you can end the contracts. But I'm saying you don't even need to go to court. Just call them on a table. Si mmekula ya kutosha Simwache hata watu wa Kenya wapumzike kidogo basi. By mutual agreement, each of us Government and you, we agree to end the contracts or to vary them in a way that is not as exploitative as somebody selling power to the to KPLs, to Kenya Power, 5 times what Kenyan is selling or what Uganda Electricity is selling.
Or Ethiopia up there.
Or as crazy as people being paid, whether or not they have delivered because the contract says no.
Very well.
Those are things we can agree on.
Low-hanging fruits, you say?
Yeah.
Those are some of the low-hanging fruits you can...
Those are low-hanging fruits. You don't even need to go to court. They know. They know these contracts are crazy. They know it.
No need for press briefing.
No, they know it. And if they try to be clever and we are genuine as a country, we also want to show them we are not the foolish people. We are not pumpkins. We are human beings. We know what you can do to the energy sector. And we leave you with that baby. Yeah, we can just take certain policy measures and we leave you there hanging. If you go to court, we cite those unfair clauses that are unfair to the public, to the consumer. The consumer must be protected.
Very well.
There are provisions in law. It's a very simple issue, by the way.
Very well. Yeah. Talking matters of that protection, speaking on behalf of other unions that were there before that parliamentary committee, we saw Francis Otoli voice that there is need for one of the workers' representatives to be embedded in the board of the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, that is EPRA, perhaps to champion for the interest of the consumers at large. Do you think that is one of the silver bullets?
It's okay. KOTU represents the workers. They should be there. But the idea is, what is the responsibility of EPRA? There are certain very simple things. You need to liberalize the power sector. What we did, we liberalized the production, but maintain the Kenya Power monopoly of distribution and selling of electricity. It is supposed to have been the other way around. We say that in this country, subject to, of course, to regulations and safety and all those kind of things, you can sell electricity anywhere. Now, I see an opportunity to sell electricity in a certain place. I look for how I can get the electricity. I can produce it myself, or I can team up with a partner we produce, or I can buy it from a power producer. So you see, we started the wrong way. We started with liberalizing the product because there was easy money there. People are going to make billions. And I think they have made enough billions. They should leave us alone.
Leave the consumers alone now.
Leave the consumer alone. Because you see, Richard, what many of these people don't know, they have been blinded with their love for money. The billions they have, they will never finish. They will never touch. They will die and leave all these billions. Some of them, even their children and wives, will not know where the money is.
Most is going to
this thing called unclaimed
asset authority.
You think it is just set for nothing? There are billions of things, of monies elsewhere. Owners are not even known. So it's like in my community, when you have a cow more than you can keep, you keep to people to keep for you, then you keep going there for the young ones. You know? Sometimes even your people don't know where you have kept some animals. So when you die, so they have had all the billions they need. They should give us a break, basically.
Much as even most of those billions are going into philanthropy. That isn't enough.
Which philanthropy? These are just thieves. So they should not try to... There's a question you had asked, I think I've forgotten, but anyway.
Very well. Yeah. No worries. Let's continue that conversation.
Yes.
And we are talking about the rising cost of living amid the rising political temperatures in this country. And one of the key determinants of the cost of living is the prices of petroleum and electricity they are in. As much as there is a call for the president and opposition leader to meet and talk about the cost of living, do you think that electricity prices should be at the center of that conversation before anything else?
Energy is at the center of everything. What drives the economy? What set in motion the Industrial Revolution? It was a new source of energy.
IBC to take a backseat.
Which one?
IBC issues.
No, those are political issues. You must separate political issues from economic issues. The economic issues of the economy will involve cost of living. And at the center of that will be energy. Energy is at the center of the solar system. Energy is what drives
the wind beneath the wings of inflation.
Yeah, you cannot talk of cost of living without looking at petrol, diesel, electricity. No, what will you be talking about? These other things are consequences of the excessive charges.
Very well.
Yeah, in the energy sector.
In one of the spirited efforts by the former President Uhuru Kenyatta to bring down the cost of energy was the formulation of a task force, which he himself mandated it be constituted. One of those people with impeccable minds therein. We saw some resolutions come from that task force, but even to this date, energy prices are still high. Do you think Ruto should go for a new task force?
Task forces will never do it. Common sense. Who doesn't know why electricity is expensive in this country? Do you need a commission for that? Or a task force? Look at all these fake transformers. Who brings them in? Look at the fake meter, this meter, what do you call this, token things.
Billing equipment.
And the people tapping into it and directing the money you pay, you think is going to power, is going somewhere. That's so cheap. This is so cheap. Look at the poles. Who is supplying poles to Kenya Power? Who came up with these concrete things? I mean, come on, my friend. This is just, it is simple common sense. And then once you have dealt with these common sense issues of contractors playing games, you know, of electricity going down during rains and Kenya Power not going there, signaling a contractor to go. A contractor, instead of finishing in 2 hours, he does it for 4 days. Of course, they'll get money. Those are cheap things. Those are useless things which everybody knows. And then you go to the PPAs. And the electricity, I can assure you, given the source of our electricity in this country and our capacity for generation of clean energy, electricity in this country should go down by over 50%. Well, maybe even 60%. We will have one of the cheapest electricity
in the
tariffs.
region.
Not in the region, even in the world. Because we have what many people don't have. Because of this PPAs and what have you, and the crooked nature of generation, geothermal, hiyo pesa watu wanakula ndani.
Transmission of energy.
Even simple energy from the sun, we have not been able to go in that direction well. Once you tap into the sun energy, solar energy,
or wind power,
you will have so much power that naturally all these other will go down. You see? Sometimes even in Germany, which is, there was a year, I think, I don't know whether it happens many times, but there was a time about 2, 3, 4 years ago where they had gotten so much from the sun, from the solar energy, they were giving people free electricity. It's so much. So we, with the 24/7 sunshine, January to December, with just some little science and technology, we should be able to generate cheap electricity, cheap energy from the sun. And therefore, the cost of energy in this country, in terms of electricity, should be one of the cheapest in the world. Yeah, but you see, you can't go in the energy direction of the wind. Okay, the wind, they went there and they took all the corruption there. If you go into you can't go into the sun, because all these other games they are playing down here will die. And people will not be making, there are billions, which I must repeat, they will never use.
So even the climate change issue, the big talk about going
talk.
green energy,
it's
remains a talk.
It's just talk. It's just talk. It's just talk. It's just talk. In fact, I used to think if we had claimed some very dry lands in this country and pumped water there and irrigated a million acres of land, which was useless, arid, but we pump water, there are a million acres, and plant trees in the 70s or 80s or even 90s or even now, Kenya Power will never buy a post after 7 years. Never. Because they will have more than they need.
More than they need.
That kind of thinking stands in the way of people making the billions, which I repeat, they do not need and they will never use. And the billions you are making because you are sick. These guys are sick. Because you have billions which you can't finish, you will never use, even your children will not use, and yet you are stealing even from the dead. Mpaka kwa mochari unaenda unaiba to add on the billions you have. So you are sick. We must pray for these people. Some of them committed them some treatment somewhere. They are sick people.
No need to benchmark from Rwanda.
No.
Going green energy, cheap energy, and all that.
We have everything. Why benchmarking what? What is it we need? Just tell the boys at the University of Nairobi and elsewhere. In the next 3 years, we want to get 50% of electricity in this country in the next 3 years from solar energy and the wind. They'll give you.
Like Canadian solar.
No, not even this company. Just boys and girls at the university. Just tell them we are enabling you. Tell us. I was in some place, in some country where I saw something in a trade fair show, where there's something like, I don't know how I would explain it. It is the thing is bent, the one the plate for tapping the sun.
Oh yeah.
Down here at the bottom, there is a sort of meko where you can put safurias. So mama anaweka chakula, anaweka hapo chini, anaenda shamba. The food is just cooking from the sun. Boys and girls will give her these things. They have the technology, they have the science, and soon we will become less and less dependent on this expensive source of energy.
Very well, there you have it. From none other than Herman Manyora talking matters energy sector and the reforms that are needed therein just so to cushion the consumer from the high electricity prices witnessed in this country. So much to be done by the government and stakeholders therein in the energy sector. Please heed to Herman Manyora's call so that we can really be a better country and a better economy that is all inclusive of the rich and the poor therein. Now time for our fun of the week. It is none other than this amazing lady, Eve Gishuru in Kiambu.
Eve Gishuru from Kiambu, thank you for being part of this family. Thank you very much, Eve.
She has just completed her course at the NYS.
Wonderful.
Now
wonderful.
ready to serve the nation.
Anasema, they have a very nice motto. I've forgotten. It's very...
Huduma kwa taifa.
No, they have a very nice motto. Yeah. True to self, true to country. Something like that. Yes, true to self, true to country.
NYS.
NYS. That's another opportunity we have not exploited.
It has the potential of taking us to a higher ground as a
nation. You mobilize all the young men before they go to university, they join NYS, and they serve the country in many different ways.
Get Okinyi Jadiel to NYS before they come to Nairobi.
And it was there, then it was misused.
Very well. Eve Twitter, asante sana for watching. Until next time on Business Glade, I'm yours truly, Richard Mwanja. Always a pleasure.